what is with the fan base's endless love for Kyle Shanahan? It's like they like him even more than me, and I don't get that. I mean, come on. I don't have a losing record. No, forget me. What is it with Kyle, man? I'm sure there's a million things, but can we list them? I've never seen a losing coach have such a loyal fan base. Before we get into it, hold on. This killed me today, man. I wake up, I get an email, there's some coaches poll in USA Today that ranked Kyle Shanahan the number 4 head coach, okay? Number 1 is Belichick. 2 is Andy Reid. 3 is John Harbaugh. 4 is freaking Kyle Shanahan ahead of Arians, Carroll, and Tomlin, other guys who've won Super Bowls. All right, I'll let you talk. I just want to read this because it killed me. In 4 years as head coach of the Niners, Kyle Shanahan has a losing record. In fact, his team has finished with a winning mark just one time. However, numbers lie in this case. What? Shanahan is a top-notch coach. So whatever. Numbers lie? I'm sorry. I came from the school of you are what your record says you are, and that's how it is for every other coach. But Kyle is a very lucky man. Everyone sees it from his perspective. I love it. I love it, man. Kyle, respect. So why? What is it about this man?
First of all, I'm a big-time Kyle fan. I would rather have Kyle than any other coach in the league, even though I think that 4th is a way generous ranking there.
Hey, and I'm very hard on Kyle Shanahan, but I've never said the Niners should fire him. I try to help. I've hired myself as quality control just because I like Kyle so much. So
it's very generous of you. Very generous of you.
Yeah.
You've devoted your time to this topic and tried to improve his standing there. Yeah, to me, so I love the first 3 in that list. I'm a big John Harbaugh fan, especially around his beliefs on servant leadership. Anyone who hasn't seen a video he did a while back on that, Google John Harbaugh's servant leadership. It's fantastic. But for Kyle, it is a bit inexplicable how everyone, and especially the national media, does forgive him for his record. And I do think that it's fair to say he has this potential. It's fair to say he is this genius. And I think that you have to do a better job.
The top head coach in the league. He could.
But
4 now. 4.
No, that seems unfair to people who have done it.
Accomplished things. Man, it is. So can we go through the ultimate list of things that people are not that they like about him, but that they're like, I don't know. What is it about this guy?
To me, there's 5 that jump out. I'll go through them and then we can kind of roll through one by one and see if they're valid and whether it's potential or reality. To me, it's bloodlines, cool factor.
Oh, now, absolutely. Okay, so you do all 5 and then we'll go through each one.
All 5. Bloodlines, cool factor, offensive genius, national media hype, and the eye test.
Okay, let's do each one at a time.
Bloodlines.
That's obvious. I mean, it's not just that Mike Shanahan was his dad. It's that Shanahan was the offensive coordinator the last time the Niners won a Super Bowl. There's a specific type of offense that looks right. With the fullback on the field and the quarterback under center, it kind of looks like the 1980s 49ers. It feels like, hearkening back to the past when they didn't do that for so long. I mean, Singletary was the Bears. Nolan was the Ravens. Freaking Harbaugh was the Bears. I mean, they like neglected their past for so long, and it looked like re-embracing it with Kyle Shanahan. That's part of it.
And that one to me is warranted. You have a offensive system that mirrors an offensive system that was wildly successful for the 49ers in the past. You have Mike Shanahan's ability to find and build these running backs to incredible levels that seem to come out of nowhere. And that carries forward into Kyle. So you see common themes that carry forward from his father to him. Yep. And it's also fair to assume that, much like the relationship I see with you and your father, I would assume you're a better journalist because of the simple fact that your father is a phenomenal journalist.
Thanks.
And so I think the same is true for Kyle. Yes. I think that his father is a phenomenal head coach. Yeah. Well, and therefore it's fair to assume that he has passed along some of that goodness to Kyle.
Well, I mean, we know that Kyle's a phenomenal play designer and play installer. So why? Because he's been exposed to that since he was born. Yeah.
Not you do wonder if some of the negative things have come through too with the physical practice style of old school mentality. You wonder if he needs to progress in that area. And then the cool factor, right? We'll get back to the coach drip and whatnot between him and Mike. That's That's pretty real. I feel like that is appealing to maybe players even more than it is to the fans. Like, we love to obsess over it as fans, but when you see that players think Shanahan's cool too, that's something.
Yep. I mean, he's young. He wears the hat. He's got the Yeezys.
Yeezys.
He's kind of like speaks the same language. He listens to Lil Wayne. I mean, there are cultural markers that separate him from. He's not a boomer. He's not 55 years old, and I'm not sure that he might be concerned. I mean, his dad spoke at a Trump rallies, but he wears the right shoes and the right hat, so people like him. I don't know.
Yeah, to me that's acceptable. That as fans we love him for that. Yeah. But that one is like, why are you giving him any break on what his record is because he's cool?
Yeah,
like that has no bearing on ability to actually produce as a head coach. Maybe we shouldn't value that trait about him in the way that we do.
And maybe you should hold him to a higher standard because his last name is Shanahan. Instead of giving him the benefit of the doubt, like, well, he should know. I mean, his dad taught him. Like, I don't know, man. Prove it on your own. Anyway.
Yeah. There's definitely something to that. Offensive genius. So this one ties into me. Maybe we should keep these separated, but for me, you can't take away the eye test from the offensive genius because it goes back to, well, great, offensive genius. But if you look at points scored, games won, all of those factors, I don't see a correlation between offensive genius and production on the field.
He did have the 2016 year, which was, he didn't win it, but he that was one of the top 10 offenses of all time, that 2016 Falcons team.
Should being a great offensive coordinator count when being judged as a head coach?
Well, when I was a kid, the offense we always used when we played Madden, I mean, was the Rams. It was all about Mike Martz and the Rams. When you had Madden, you want to play with Warner and Falk and all those guys. Like that was the offense in the NFL 20 years ago.
Fastest show on turf.
Mm-hmm. And he was an abysmal head coach. Just an abysmal head coach. Even though he went to a Super Bowl.
Right.
He lost. Mike Martz. Remember Mike Martz? It's like people forgot that there's this whole thing about coordinators who don't translate. So yeah, I mean, Kyle had 2016. It was cool. He also had 2012. It was really cool. Mike Martz had a bunch of years.
Yeah.
And he was not fit to be a head coach for a lot of reasons.
Yep.
A lot of reasons.
Yeah, I think that when you're talking about offensive genius, it's fair to use that to then say, hey, this guy as a play designer and a play caller is, if you're ranking that play caller, play designer, I'm fine with him at 4. I'm fine with him at 1 in that, right? If you're just talking about play design, I'm fine with that.
We're
talking about
it's Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. That's it?
Yeah.
Is it those 4? Greg Roman is kind of the wild card because his run game is quite intricate. But those 5,
those 5. But his pass game is sometimes atrocious.
Yeah, but those are the 5. But we're not talking about that. He got ranked ahead of Mike Tomlin, who's never had a losing season. It's like,
I don't get the disrespect that gets on Mike Tomlin's name. I have a buddy who's a Steelers fan, and there have been years where he was lukewarm on him. I was like, you don't know how good you have it. Mike Tomlin is phenomenal. Yeah. So I get it. It should be more about results. By the way, just want to show out, as you're showing those little questions, I got to call out. I forgot to, my bad. But the question about rusher receiver came from Josh Mangold. My man Josh is sending me in questions to the 49ers mailbag at gmail.com. I appreciate him, and I want to make sure a shout out. And then it was B Money who put in the idea around the endless love for Kyle Shanahan. I had to have a nod to the endless love sound of
that's true
of Motown.
And I'd like to think that B Money got the idea of the endless love for Shanahan from Lionel Richie.
Yeah,
because that's 100%. A great song. 100%. What I wanted to say, was there any
national media hype is the last one? National media hype.
That's huge because the national media, he has all this hype because of his dad. His dad is the 3-time champion. His dad has a lot of national media people who have been established since the early 90s. I mean, do you know who wrote Mike Shanahan's biography?
Adam Schefter, right?
That's right. Adam Schefter. So there's a lot of serious people who are like 30 years in the game who love Mike and are kind of indebted and see things from that family's perspective. So that's like a perfect storm of benefit of the doubt for a head coach And God love him for having it, man. God love him.
And it truly benefits him in all the other categories, right? When you have people constantly singing your praises, it raises your stock in every other element. When you have people talking about, oh, well, his dad was so phenomenal, people are reminded, oh, yeah, he comes from an NFL bloodline. When they talk about him on the sideline, it's like, oh, yeah, he's pretty cool. The players love him. When you're talking about, wow, I've never seen a play design like this where it's so intricate to see the blocking schemes, people are like, oh, yeah, he's an offensive genius. So you're told this repeatedly from the national media. I think the biggest contributor to that endless love has got to be the hype.
My endless love. Good song. All right. Before we
I was hoping that would come through at some point, my man.
You kept setting it up. You kept teeing it up. All right.
Yeah, you know I had to.
Before we go, we meant to do this before. Rob's been on the show a bunch of times. You like Rob. I like Rob. Rob's really good. You should subscribe to Rob's YouTube channel because it's really good. I don't know if I plugged it before. It's in the description. I just put it in the chat. Definitely add it to your list of YouTube channels that you subscribe to because you probably didn't even know we had one and you watch them once a week. So I'm just saying it's in the chat. It's in the description. Click on it.
Please do. You'll see some mailbag stuff in there. I mean, right now there's only 4 or 5 videos on the page, right? But content is building. You'll see some creative stuff come out from me where I think I'm funny and I try to prove that to everybody. But you'll also see serious side of me like you see on here with Grant. I like to think I've got good range. Maybe not the kind of range Grant does, but good range.
The other thing you don't know about Rob is he comes through with a detailed syllabus every week of what we're talking about. It's like 2 pages. It's multiple topics with subpoints for subpoints per subpoint. I was like, well, wow, it's very impressive, man. Well, most people are like, hey, so what are we talking about this week? I don't know, man. Let's talk about it for 3 minutes. Rob is like up late, and I definitely respect the grind. So Rob is the truth. Definitely subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll be back in 45 minutes with Coach Jay talking about something. I don't know. We got to call each other and talk about
Jay.
it. Coach
Me and Coach Jay celebrating Ball Guy Day.